May's Future of Water Theatre here at Installer. I nearly said here at KBIS then. Here at Installer 2024. We're really delighted to be hosting this theatre once again for the second year. And I'm really pleased that our opening session is going to be on a topic very close to my heart, which is the collaboration that we have with NKBA, our US sister association, if you like, and the owners of a great trade show called KBIS that we're going to hear a little bit more about. First off, I'm going to ask my panelists to introduce themselves in their own style of words. So we'll start with you, please, Veronika.
So I'm Veronika Miller, and the senior head of M2 Consulting Group and a lead consultant on NKBA Global Connect. Happy to be here at the UK. My home away from home, and never been to the Installer show, and it's quite impressive, I must say. And so our reason for being here is to meet with international brands, with British brands that are looking at nothing interested in looking at the market, whether they're already over there or just exploring that opportunity.
Sherry Qualls. I will have the pleasure of working with Veronika as part of the M2 Connect team. We have been working in the industry for 45 plus years, and my specialty is really to help build roadmaps for those who are interested in coming to the North American market and to collaborate with you to ensure success if indeed you do decide that that is your future market expansion opportunity. Thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you both. We are getting quite a bit of feedback, so shall I shuffle over a little bit? Okay, so first things first, tell us about the size of the opportunity in North America for UK and European market brands.
I'll jump on that one. We are roughly a $173 billion marketplace for kitchens and baths in Canada and the United States. The NKBA represents the marketplace in both those countries. And one of the things that I know all of us are worried about and looking at are all of our respective political and election situations. In spite of our challenges in that regard, our $173 billion marketplace continues to be very strong. A very important thing to understand is that the largest profitable sector of that industry data point is the remodel replacement market. Many of you probably know that new construction is off in North America by about 5%. We're only at about 1.2 million housing starts. It's quite the opposite in the remodeling area because people are not moving. They are staying in their homes, they are investing in their homes, and they are consequently remodeling the most important spaces, which are the kitchens.
And we've heard it called the golden age of remodeling, right? Well, just explain that term.
Yes. So the NKBA partners with a very important group, two groups actually, Zonda, which is a very robust market data research company in North America focused on the design and construction industries, as well as John Burns Real Estate Construction. One of our partners, Todd Tomala, it refers really to this entire time period as feeling like we might be in a soft area, but actually looking back will be the golden age of remodeling because of so much work that's being redirected to the remodeling area. We have a housing stock that I know does not sound old to this marketplace, but 10 is moving into the 20-year mark. 22 million homes will be continuing to age out at 20 years and older starting next year. So consequently, all those homes are in the market for remodeling. And the kitchens and the baths are the number one spaces for that. On average, an 1,800 square foot home has somewhere around 3 bathrooms, all of which are being remodeled, gutted, if you will, and a kitchen that can range anywhere from 200 square feet to easily, in some cases, 1,000 square feet. And so we do segment out and how we track each one of those build-outs, but the market is huge.
So,
Opportunity.
a real bump in remodeling. Veronika, how have consumer kind of demands and preferences evolved in recent years, particularly since the pandemic?
So much has changed since the pandemic. Just to follow up a little bit on what Sherry was just saying, the pandemic has driven this incredible purchasing behavior for the sake of simply one thing, larger homes to allow work from home. And now these people are stuck. They're stuck at a high interest rate marketplace in homes that they literally aesthetically appreciate or want in the first place. They needed size. They literally needed a bigger space because everything is staying in lot. And now here they are, and now they can't sell because they can't move it to something else at 7.5% interest rate, and the current mortgage is maybe 2.5%. And so this is what drives so much in that remodeling desire and the consideration now because they are stuck to some extent. They're now turning this into something. In the midst of all this, and driven by the pandemic, you have a completely different approach to what matters in the house and in the homes.
Can I just come in and ask a question there about the mortgage market? Because here in the UK, we have tracker mortgages and we have kind of 5-year fixes. That's not quite how it works in the States, is it?
No. We typically, when people are buying a home, they're typically thinking about a 30-year mortgage.
And fixed for that term.
And it's fixed for that term. And of course, pre-pandemic mortgage rates, as Veronika suggested, were hovering around 2.5%, 3.5%. And so a young person, older people refinanced, they took that money, they either paid off their mortgages more quickly or they reinvested in their homes. Now we're at this 5 to 7% mortgage rate with no sense that it's going to drop down, trying to manage kind of inflation and making sure that we aren't pumping too much money back into the marketplace. So as a result, we have people who are taking the money that is in the equity in their homes, even at that higher interest rate. And as Veronika said, remodeling and replacing because they're either making the decision to turn this property into a place they're going to stay in for that 30 years, or they need to get it ready to resell, and it needs to be much more appealing than when they bought it at the low interest rate. So all the economics point to the remodel replacement sector as really being the strength of the market, and that 173 billion reflects that really. While it's only 37% of the 173 billion, it's the most profitable segment. The budgets are larger. You're working on smaller projects at a time, but investing more per square foot.
So a large amount of wealth being invested into property.
Yep.
Veronika, can you tell me how design trends have evolved specifically?
Yeah, and that plays right back into that. And less of a design trend, but really kind of a thoughtfulness trend around the home. So you have these investments, you're seeing a clear shift in the North American marketplace, and arguably commonly over here as well, where there is strong investment being made in the kitchens and the baths very specifically, and in outdoor spaces, outdoor kitchens, all those viable outdoor bathrooms, outdoor bathrooms, absolutely, especially with the heat. But what we're also seeing is when you talk to like the furniture, truly furniture, like the sofas, upholstery, those guys are very stagnant and can't explain because that is not seen as a priority. So the priority is in literally each and every home is the hard surfaces, is the bathroom, is the kitchen. With the view on design, heavily skewed towards a modern or contemporary design. That's why we're here. We're looking in Europe, we're looking at the UK to see what you guys can bring. But we're also looking for innovation, but we're looking for health and wellness in a very, very big way. That will never go away. That there's somewhat other people that have waited through the pandemic are now raising their families. It is simply the focus, the smart toilet, really thinking about wellness in the home. And when in America, when we talk about wellness, we're talking about the average bathroom alignment or setup of all is the powerhouse, which is just the toilet at the sink, followed by one or two secondary bathrooms with either a tub shower configuration, toilet, double sink, chickasee, and then they have your primary bath. And that's where we kind of pull all the stops as much as we can, the freestyle tub, the walk-in showers. Now we're also making much stronger on the threshold-free showers. For us, that was a bit of a problem, as you know.
Yeah.
Getting into that marketplace. And then we don't stop there. As soon as you hit a certain price and a certain budget levels, now there's the home spas, now there's the steam showers, now there's these added spaces that are also not English communal. So it's not just mommy and daddy that get to have a steam shower in there, right that, but now there's more communal home spa spaces because if we do now travel again, yes. So we also take from that travel back into our home. So that nesting instinct has gone away and it's very much skewed towards wellness.
So 20 years ago, kitchens stopped being the place where you just did the cooking, became social spaces. We're kind of seeing that evolution in US bathrooms now as well.
We're seeing the evolution in the bathroom. It is a living space. And we have space in the States, and we have nothing. We've got lots of real estate space. So for us, it's just not unusual for a home to be 300, 400, 500 square meters. We don't find that off-putting or disconcerting at all. Now we're going to have 6 bathrooms. It took me about 6 months to figure that out when I bought the thing, which was
finding them all.
I didn't know I had 6 bathrooms. They're all over the place. And so, you know, it's not an expensive house. It's really not. But we just do have space. And as we remodel, we blow out walls. We still open up the kitchen. We put in wood or even multiple kitchen islands, which means we have 4 sinks. We have 4 taps. We have sometimes we double up with appliances. We're great with massive refrigerators. And on the bathroom side, we're doing the same thing. It really makes those into little spaces with one.
So we talked a little bit about design there. Tell us about the role of the designer, because it's very different from here in the UK and or widely in Europe. Who's going to cover that?
That's my world. It is. It's so funny for us to be at a show called Installer and learning the importance of the installer in the UK as the specifier, as a core decision maker and core influencer to buy process. In the States, that's just not the case. So for us, it is very much on many budget levels, not just in the super high-end space, as it is probably a little bit from here in the UK. For us, it's the entire middle budget to the very top. But that's a significant package is the interior designer with certified and or not certified excellent math designers who make the buying decisions. They are the first people on the project. They're the first people that are skin to that homeowner. There's no installer at this point at all. And they're working through the design concept with the client. They are specifying everything from the wall colors to the rugs to the hardwood flooring to the cabinetry to the millwork to the trim to oftentimes smart home features. They'll now bring in the trades. Many of our designers are design builds. So they will actually take it from the beginning of the conversation all the way to the very end of the process. They are part of this thing. So it's not a decoration only approach. It very much is a specifier's position. And as such, extremely, when you think of probably somewhere around 100,000 designers in some capacity.
Wow.
And if they all do spend homes a year, which they don't, they come in twice that. But there's a demand industry that are being influenced. So there's somewhere around 3 million bathrooms being influenced by these people. So getting in front of them and learning how to do that for a brand on the map is it's important. Because how do you reach these people? Most of them work as individuals. They don't work in companies on much of it. So going through the different trade associations,
So Sherry, you decided that you want to try and influence these designers, and that you've got a European product that you want to take to the States. What's your strategy?
Okay. The very first thing really is to make sure that indeed you're very clear about what your product portfolio really stands for. I think one of the things that a lot of European and UK brands think about is, oh, we have a product that Americans will love. And that's probably 90% of the time true. However, it needs to be installed. It needs to be certified. It needs people who are trained to actually help the specifier and, frankly, then the installer understand what its magic is all about. The consumer, frankly, is a part of that process, but we rely very heavily on the design professional and, frankly, the showroom to help the consumer understand why that specifier has selected that product. So it's less important, frankly, that a brand be worried about the consumer at this process or at that point in the process, and much more important is that design professional and complementary, their retail showroom and the installer are fully trained on why this product. So that is a critical understanding point. Secondly, I should actually say, firstly, the best thing to do is to join Global Connect, because obviously we'll help navigate that for you. But after that, it's sitting there, getting that portfolio organized, then understanding, are you going to go through distribution, or are you going to try and work directly with showrooms on your own? The specifiers, the designers are specifiers. Very few of them actually buy. So you need to think about what the go-to-market strategy is going to have to include. Do you want that distribution partner who's going to assume a lot of the risk for you in North America? Or do you want to set up individual sales responsibilities around the country with various showrooms? Once that's kind of established, making sure, obviously, as part of that process, you have a very clear understanding about your pricing strategy. Remember that when you have so many people in the channel, you need to be thinking about how everybody is going to benefit from the sale of the product. So it's critical that the pricing strategy is understood and developed in concert with your distribution partner, who typically will understand kind of what the markup strategy needs to be, or the wholesale pricing strategy plus needs to be. And then lastly, thinking about how do you get your representation in the larger marketplace. That's when you can think about, do I participate in an event like KBIS? And is there an opportunity for me to participate with the BMA in a pavilion, or with Global Connect in a small little kiosk, before I go spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a very large space and don't then have the resources to manage the marketing and all of that. And marketing is a huge support level once the sales distribution strategy is defined. And those guys will also help with the development of the marketing strategy.
Let's just explore those options for dipping the toe in the water to start with. So we've got NKBA Global Connect and the support package that entails.
Yeah.
Explain the delegation, the pavilion, the Global Connect pavilion as well. And what are the different options for brands that are looking to explore?
Yeah, it really is. Like I said, going into this, it is a step-by-step process. And Global Connect is a business development process that there's no one-size-fits-all. Every business is different, every journey is different, and the place in that journey is always going to differ. So it's very customized. So we've kind of segmented this, and where should you go as we do due diligence, covering to like the North American market versus actually already being. Depending on where that's at, if you're interested in understanding how the trade show works, joining as part of a delegation is a great idea. We've been running those since 2019, I think. 2019. And it's usually around 85, 95 international delegates that join this program. In Spiders, it's a lot of fun. We have very select meeting points right at the start of the show and again at the end of the show, and great programming to meet with designers, with specifiers, with showrooms, with distributors throughout that process. So we really are trying to get these delegates in front of the right people so that they could start having dialogue. What we also see is that they're starting to do business amongst each other.
Right.
So they're connecting during our orientation, saying, "I didn't know you guys were coming. We're coming. Hey, you do furniture, we do things. Let's work together." And so it's that kind of thing. Let's ship together. Let's collaborate together. Let's work on distribution strategies together. Together is a key word for the North American market because it is so big. And so offering up the delegation program is invaluable. Many of the people that come to Davis on that program up every year and continue to be part of the program. We thought it was just for first timers, but that's not at all how it works. You're always there.
Yeah, I'm a repeat customer.
It is a repeat offender. And now if you're looking at actually maybe having a footprint on the floor, we have our Global Connect Village in South Hall at Davis, and Global Connect is our program that we drive the marketing around. We have 3 days worth of programming where brands can present to a room full of designers and influencers what they're doing. So they call the spotlights. They do presentations to these audiences. They know to be there. We make sure that they are sitting in those seats and thinking about new products that are being presented to them, so to speak, virtually in this environment. What's exciting about that is you have a wonderful case study coming out of the UK, the kind of slid in sideways like that few years ago, Blaine, from the Isle of Wight, and you presented, did not really exhibit at the show, presented in this environment. And the influencers were sitting there and they popped up out of their seats afterwards, went to go meet with them on the show floor, and they were off to the races now, so there was goodbye. So that was sort of a Cinderella story. But it really does work well. So the Spotlights presentation is one way to get involved. Hosting happy hours and information session is another way. Our kiosks are kiosks only, so that you're not cleaning product yet, but you can now exhibit with a kiosk space. And you're bringing brochures, you're bringing material samples, you're considered an exhibitor on the show floor, you have a screen to present virtually, but you're marketed as would any other exhibitor. So it's a low-cost option to get into the marketplace, test the waters, get as far as this audience. And then finally, exhibiting, of course, in a country pavilion.
Yeah.
The work together, once again, comes to mind. Exhibiting together, marketing together, saving some money, saving that standalone process, because marketing in America is expensive. Marketing in Davis is extraordinarily expensive. It just is. And so doing it at least for the first few years as part of a pavilion, which I know you're working very diligently on, is extraordinarily important.
It's just a way to share the risk, share the costs.
Exactly.
And a soft entry really into the show. And it's so good to see some repeat customers on the British Pavilion this year, but also companies that have outgrown the British Pavilion and decided, well, we need our own footprint next year.
Yeah, and just as a postscript, the North American marketplace is looking for new, innovative product all the time. And one of the things that Veronika and I talk a lot about is the fact that, especially during the pandemic, a lot of the innovation stalled, certainly with Americans. And so, the design professionals, the showrooms, the distributors are looking to you for those new innovative solutions that you've already had in the marketplace and have established in proof of concept. Shower trays, an example. We talk about the electric showers.
Instantaneous water heaters.
Yeah, instant hot water heaters, not electric showers. That's okay. But it is that kind of thing. And know that when people come to KBIS, they don't come to see Kohler. They can see Kohler anytime. They come to see the BMA Pavilion, honestly, because they can't see those products elsewhere. So it's a good move for everyone.
Veronika's pinched glaze as an example of that, a case study, if you like.
Yeah.
Are there any more that come to mind, Sherry, of international brands that have
Yes, I mean,
engaged in the process?
yeah, our friends from Germany, of course, the European kitchen furniture manufacturers have long been flirting with the North American market, but have not in the past had this program to be able to hitch on to. With this program, we have been able to re-engage a number of brands that frankly had failed 10 or 15 years ago and are now reinvigorating their approach to the North American market. One of our favorites is a company called Ballerina, more of a high-end European kitchen furniture manufacturer based in Germany. They're taking advantage of Global Connect in the process, step by step, by the book. And so far, it has worked very nicely for them. I think they would suggest that they have not made a number of very expensive mistakes that they would have made had they not pursued this process. It's one of our favorite little examples, and we feel very good for them about that.
In fact, just last night we got some data on them that they are one of very few German furniture manufacturers at this moment who are showing an increase over last year.
Yeah.
Because there's it's getting very flat across Europe and to Germany as well. And Ballerina really kind of took it step by step, and they are increasing sales.
And this diversification point is absolutely key, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the real opportunity.
Yep.
Not just the size of the market, but spreading your risks.
There's that philosophy, right? When things go down, invest more, push harder. Don't retract, don't curl up, because that's the time to get into the marketplace when your competition isn't, right? Because they have that natural tendency to attract. So now is perfect time, as markets are a little bit flatter, is to say now's the time when we have to fight that investment to get ahead of that curve. If things are right and well at the gold rush, then you'll want to find this out. It is the perfect time. Lasting years and stillness. Also, for attention is the U.S. buying market. We're still moving, and actually, I'm just getting some data in on some of the conversations with the design community. It's very much where they're looking about lead times again suddenly. So they're noticing hold-offs, they're noticing delays again. But it is still a time where they are paying more attention than they could have done during the COVID, during the pandemic. I want to pay attention to anything else. So now is that sweet spot.
So that's the good stuff.
Yep.
What are the pitfalls? What are the challenges and the obstacles that brands need to overcome?
I'll jump on that and say it's going to be a minimum of 3 to 5 years that you have to be prepared to work through the process. It will not happen overnight. And as a matter of fact, as a kind of a complement to the Blaze conversation, they did have a little bit of a hitch. And it was unfortunate. It was not a fault of theirs, but making sure that you are slowly and steadily evaluating every step of the process and iteratively adjusting, recognizing that if this approach is starting to feel a little uncomfortable, pull back and retrench. And I've got to say, being very smart about managing expectations, both back into the corporate parent company as well as with your distribution partners, critical to be thinking minimum 3 to 5 years as a development process. And that you need to think about marketing very differently and storytelling very differently than perhaps you do in Europe or in the UK. We, as Americans, love stories and love to know the provenance of products and care deeply about that. Customer service. If you're not prepared to develop an on-the-ground customer service support group, that will be a problem. Again, having a very strong distribution partner who understands that, critical. you need to be able to serve within 24 to 48 hours when there is that problem. And that will also build trust with the design professional and the showroom, because they will see that you care and that you are going above and beyond to solve those issues. I would say those are the big ones from my vantage point.
Yeah, I would agree. The marketing we touched on, the one big thing is the number. It's the budget. It was nothing that you're familiar with from anything. It just isn't. And there is very, very little like you tackle social media by yourself. There's virtually no organic flows to social media anymore. It's all paid to play. It needs to be strategically built, and it needs to be structured in a way that's sensible and in connection with other marketing programs. So you're shooting for the net, you're just going to pour money down the drain cleverly, and it's not a good way to think through. So getting advice, getting the consulting. One of the things we didn't really touch on too much maybe is that part of Global Connect, we have a set of advisors available for people to provide advice. So Sherry creates an overarching roadmap, but then there are people at friends can talk to around logistics, around compliance, around taxation, is kind of around marketing, around distribution, law, all of copyright, all of that good stuff. So there's so much to think about, and asking those questions beforehand. Because what happens, because we're so in love with this type of product and with what you guys can bring to the table, so we'll come in not just as a buyer, but a distributor will come and say, I want an exclusive for me. And that's where we would then advise and say, don't sign it, because the market's too fresh for you.
Yeah.
Play to the broader, you might never be an exclusive to anybody, but really, really hedge your bets. Be the prettiest girl at the ball at the art to get, because there's options in this marketplace, and these people will come to you. Even we've seen it with kiosks, where people are coming up and trying to lock in a distribution deal that ultimately was a good devastating for the market.
So we need patience, we need perseverance, people on the ground as well. And drawing on that institutional memory that they can get through Global Connect.
Yeah.
Okay. 100,000 designers, how on earth do you reach them? Tell us about the opportunity of social media.
I think the associations are key.
Yeah. Okay.
We're obviously NKBA, so we'll say that first. But depending on what the product vertical is, there may be others as well. So I would spread that out to reach these spaces. NKBA has a total membership of over 50,000 people. Marketing through the NKBA is very, very powerful. And then looking at other opportunities to also kind of really think through what the strategy is. Oftentimes where we do marketing proposals as a consulting company, we don't drive that anymore because we're not that marketing or advertising agency, but we certainly help our clients understand what they're in for. And on the marketing side, whether it's a good social strategy, a good agency will probably take somewhere between $3,000 and $6,000 a month to market, to create a social media strategy that they will manage for you. Influencer marketing is another big one. Happen to have a company that does that. But again, the budget there for individual events, get people to launch on the showroom. There's a lot of money involved because you want to get what you pay for. They'll come for free and have some nibbles and some drinks, but then you don't have a relationship with the together. You do that, it's not all the time. But how do you really start working with them as individuals or as smaller or even larger influencers? And then there's the traditional media, both digital and print, that will look to work with brands to get in front of these designers, the shelter magazines, or the trade publication. And they will also look for an advertising eye to go together with that editorial piece. And so, I think starting with the associations, attending events, showing up, being in cases, even if it's just like a delegate, is really front and center. Having your own social media presence, great, absolutely. We are all Instagrammers. Some people still are Facebookers, although I don't know where that's going to go. Some people don't stream well on TikTok.
They must be coming up for retirement.
We never know what's going to happen next with those guys. You just have to check in every day. I think right now that the game is not as cool as the Instagram in terms of reaching the size and doing
TikTok?
but it'll work, and there's quite a bit going on.
Yeah, and it's really great for the installer and for the tradespeople. It is fabulous. YouTube and TikTok both are great tools to get quick snippets out there to make sure that you can troubleshoot. And groups are, always sharing those good results.
A little bit of a plug as well. If anyone's around on Thursday, we have a session on using social to boost your business, and with a real expert, Troy Linner, as well. So I recommend going along to that if you're around.
Yeah.
Before we move on, can I just check? Are there any questions from the audience? Okay. No. Well, let's crack on then. So, one final kind of big question, perhaps we can drill down into it in a bit more depth. What are the next big things in the States, both in terms of opportunities for us, but perhaps the things that we can bring from stateside here into the UK that might be of interest to our customers as well?
I think in terms of living, right, from a lifestyle perspective, the baby boomers, of which I am one, are trying desperately right now to kind of figure out what do we do with all our money. We're lucky, we have quite a bit of it. Depending on whose data you look at, there's anywhere from 64 to 80 trillion dollars of American dollars that will be transferring from baby boomers to millennials and Gen Xers in the next 10 to 15 years. That will make those generations combined the wealthiest generations ever in North America. Ever. Like, even back to, the Rockefellers. Beats it all. So the big question is, what will they be doing with that money? There are hypotheses from Veronika's family that talks about, we'll be using that money to take care of you guys because you keep hanging around. This is a real issue. And there's truth. There's some truth to that, no question. But there is also going to be a very new look at how people are living, where they choose to spend that money. And of course, as we think about dwelling units, we think about the compounds. We think about opportunities for multi-generational living, which is becoming a very real thing. I'm a grandparent of 3. I want to live as close to those grandchildren as possible. My children, surprisingly, are very happy to have us build a little cottage on their property and be part of the multi-generational thing.
I was going to ask about ageless design and
big.
So that's a big deal.
Very big deal. As part of that whole aging in place situation, we also have something called life care communities in the States that are really over 50, over 60 communities where you're designed to live independently, but then move continuously through as you need different support services. Those places, while they feel like they should be commercial, are really residential. So the opportunity for new construction is indexing heavily to multifamily and life communities that have lots of independent living, that moves into assisted living, that moves into healthcare. So this blending of healthcare, hospitality, and residential is becoming even more combined. And I think you're going to see as a result the integration of technology significantly, the wellness piece that Veronika was talking about, not just from feeling good, but also tracking health. So toilets that are tracking healthcare through waste. And I know you're doing a lot of work in that regard. And then the last big thing that I would mention is However, we refer to the big S word, sustainability, water management, resilient design. I mean, the environmental issue is a real one. Are consumers seeking this out? We're still in a cusp area where it's a little light on that. Younger consumers are requiring it.
Yes. This is a great show to see some of the innovation in that space. Veronika, just in 1 minute, if you would mind, so we do need to wrap up. Over to you.
I would just add income producing potential in homes. Because as Sherry said, yes, you will have a very wealthy demographic. Yes, they will, in one way or another, have to take care of an aging population. It keeps aging longer and longer and longer. We're not going away that easily. But also, as they live in spaces like now, they need to be able to section off areas to Airbnb out portions of the home. They will require more flex space, and what flex space always means is multiples of things. So we're seeing a lot of thinking around that, where there's a secondary kitchen, another annex bathroom space, pod-like living outdoors, but really also in the house to make sure that a section can be completely self-supporting. That's where we're looking at these duplicate duplication of investment, having mini kitchens and other spaces available so we can rent out space and offset some of these increasing prices both on the rental property and on the owned properties. Which just, I think we're now embracing a rental market that's completely new for us. We've never, with very hackers, never even really thought in those terms. Rental apartments were usually hold hundreds. Now that's becoming a much broader process. So management of those properties has to be much more tightly organized in terms of square tile, in terms of water conservation, so that these things can run efficiently. So there's a huge opportunity there.
Please show your appreciation, Veronika and Sharon.